Are you sure?
Mama didn't raise no bitch.
Mama didn't raise no bitch. I like that. That looks like a good introduction. All right. Jesus. I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome so much. For the people just tuning in right now, listening, like they're not listening right now, but when they're eventually listening, why don't you do a brief introduction?
All right. Well, I am Amanda Sinks. I am a filmmaker, student, soon-to-be director, soon-to-be Academy Award winner.
Ooh.
But yeah, I've just been born and raised here in Santa Clarita, making a documentary about the racism in the city. So that's kind of my project right now, and just, at homeschool with the laptop, doing everything through Zoom during this quarantine.
Yeah, that's two points I want to talk about. For sure, the documentary, and then Zoom. So let's start off with Zoom. How is that? Because I could not imagine having to go to school online. I mean, I know when I'm at home and if I have work, I don't really want to fucking do it.
No, it's kind of crazy. Right now, I'm luckily getting like my general ed done.
Yeah.
So I honestly like it because then I had class at 8 a.m. this morning, and I woke up at 7:40. I rolled over, grabbed my laptop, and plopped it on my bed and just turned my video off. So that's nice.
Yes, yeah.
And it's math, and I just would rather not deal with that. So
yes, yeah.
It's nice having that general ed, but once I've been lucky to push off all my general ed for this, and then hopefully I won't have to do any of my production classes. Like, I can wait to do that when we get back from quarantine, but we're running out of general ed classes, so I don't know what I'm going to do next month.
That's so nuts. I mean, to think being in your position or like so many kids out there, it's so strange. Like I was telling you before the podcast, it's like I'm a hairstylist, right? And there are leading schools out there that are doing hair school, cosmetology school online.
Yeah.
Right? That's what the fuck?
Does you need X many hours to like hold scissors?
Yes,
too? Yeah,
yes,
that's
it's
crazy.
fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
I don't get it. And so it's like, what is the what's the end result? I mean, how much longer do you think that we're going to be going through this?
I don't know. I just keep thinking I want half my tuition back since I'm not physically there holding the cameras anymore. But we'll see. Hopefully, they said next month is going to be online again, and then they think August is going to be more production, and they're putting like the thesis students and like the advanced cine, advanced directing, all those people are going to go back, and it'll be limited. And, classes weren't huge anyways to begin with. It's because, it's kind of like a trade school kind of a thing. So I think it won't be too bad for us, but I just feel bad for the kids like at the universities that have like all this money in tuition, and they just like are stuck there and like they can't physically go to the class, and they're paying a lot of money.
A lot, so much money. I mean, already an ongoing issue in America especially is like kids taking on student loans at such a young age. It's like, how the fuck do we think that at 18 years old, this kid is even eligible to decide what he or she wants to do for the rest of their life, but on top of that, stack up tens of thousands of dollars worth of debt. And I'm not talking about like scientists, doctors, things that really make sense, but like a social media major, like spending, $40,000 a year to go to, whatever school, fill in the blank, learning from a teacher that doesn't even have a social media account, or a very small one, right? So it's really, really mind-boggling. For you, was this always, though, kind of to bring it back, it's like, was this always something that you wanted to do?
I couldn't figure that out, honestly. I went to COC right after high school. I graduated 2012. I went to COC. I took the film classes there. There wasn't a lot. So I kind of just like fizzled out, and I was just bullshitting, working at Toppers, not caring. And then just honestly, I got this email from what are they called? They're the people that, they're like the advertising people that like try to get you to come in and show you the tour of the school. I can't remember the name of those.
Do you know? All right.
He's gonna find it. He'll come back. I got an email saying like, "Oh, hey, did you still want to tour the school?" And I was like, "I don't remember signing up for this, but fuck it, let's go look at the school. Like, I'm not doing anything else with my life." So I went, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to be here. Like, I just want to do this." And then I just kind of impulsively signed up. Like, I applied for the school. I got some grants. I got some scholarships going for the first few years. So I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have to pay for a lot of the first year. I finally have been getting now the student debt racked up, but it's not a lot. It's only like 20 grand, which isn't too bad.
That's still money.
Yeah. It's money, but it's not as bad as
$200,000.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No,
not a problem. Not a problem. Hey, if you can't find,
I was just gonna ask, is it? My goodness.
Uh-oh.
I dropped it. The recruiters.
Yeah, recruiters.
Yes. Boom. Winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah.
Thank you, good sir. Look at you. Nice. That was good.
I don't know what we do.
Yeah, I know. Johnny on the spot right here. Fucking Daniel. And so you just got sucked in.
Yeah, I just did it, and then ever since I've been there, like, I don't know. I just feel perfect there. Like, everything fits. I feel like and then I was supposed to be taking a documentary class these last month and this month, but since COVID came, it's been pushed back. But it's kind of funny that, like, I would be taking a documentary class, and now I'm working on this documentary at home. So I'm gonna be taking the documentary class eventually once things go back. So I'm just like, wow, everything's fitting into place. I just feel like every time I take a class there, it has to do with one of the stories I want to write, something I want to make, a project I want to work on, something I'm thinking about my career future on. So I was just like, it's insane how well, like, my life has mushed with the school, and, like, how I feel like everything's fallen in the right place, and I'll be off on my way as soon as I graduate.
That is so cool. It's like you go through your life, and when something works and it fits really well, I mean, more of the pieces of the puzzle then start to come together. Mm-hmm. It's like we go through life trying to figure out what we want to do or what we don't want to do. But when you're passionate about something that you didn't even know that you were even passionate about, then all of this stuff starts to happen. It's just like fucking amazing, right?
It's great when everything, like, just feels like you're in the right spot. Because not a lot of people feel like that.
No, and this is the problem with America and the world. That not the only problem, right? But it's a major problem. I mean, we only have one chance at this life, right? Mm-hmm. It goes by a fucking blink of an eye. My wife and I constantly talk like, the day's over. It's like, where the fuck did today go, right?
It's ridiculous.
It's nuts. And to then go through life to be broke, this, that, or the other, not to do what you love or find a passion, have a terrible fucking family, like all the decks pushed against you, that sucks. I feel terrible for those people. But there are people out there that are fortunate enough, right?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say kudos to you, but at 26 years old, to be able to find something at a young age, it reminds me a lot of, like, myself, you know, finding hair, and then everything else it brought,
falling
right?
into place. Yeah,
we wouldn't be here right now, right? I wouldn't be doing this fucking podcast, right? It's just nuts. But then to kind of bring it back to your story, right? It's like, how did the documentary come about? Like, what was that?
We've been doing protests. Like, I remember, after George Floyd happened, I was just like, all right, well, we had a ton of protesters out to to go open up the shops again in Santa Clarita. Yeah. And I was like, but no one is talking about, like, oppression and police brutality and, like, what's going wrong with our government. And, like, I've had a long, like, I love documentaries. I don't necessarily like making them that much. Like, I'm really excited about the one I'm making, but I have so many documentaries on my wish list and my Netflix, like, my list to watch, because you just learn so much about things that you never thought you would know about. And it's, like, super easy. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any work to find out what's coming. And so I just, like, I've watched so many documentaries about, like, like, all the corruption and, like, dirty money. That documentary series is really good. They talked about, like, the gold, how they funnel in gold through the banks, and it's dirty money, like, literally dirty money. And then, like, we're cutting down the rainforest to get gold. And then Donald Trump and his stepson, or his son-in-law, and all that bullshit. So it's just like, I've always seen all the corruptions happening, and it's all linked together. Like, we're in bed, government's in bed with corporations. We're in bed with the drug companies. They get paid off. We just actually had an LA City Council member get arrested today for like, getting paid off by tons of companies so that he could make sure certain projects get greenlit and other ones got, like, burnt out. Yeah, it's ridiculous. So I've just, like, always had my eye on things that I think are going wrong, and I never really thought it was happening in SCV. I thought SCV was just like, we're all kind of just sweep it on the rug, don't talk about it, look the other way.
Always.
That's how I was raised. And then when no one came out to protest, I just took my picket sign. I was like, all right, I'm just going to be on the corner by myself protesting. And I was. And then the Friday protest happened. And then after that, we had the big week where Thursday protest. And then Friday I organized. And we talked to City Hall. And we did all these things at City Hall where we were talking to them. And then to see that they brought the National Guard on us.
Yeah, that's fucking bullshit.
It was ridiculous.
Yes.
I was like...
Felt like criminals.
And they're like, oh, we got all the, Airbnbs were bought out, and, all these, people are getting bused to Santa Clarita. I was like, first off, if anyone wants to get bused anywhere to protest, we would be getting bused to LA.
Yes,
I was like,
of course,
it would not be up here.
Fuck that. That was such bullshit when I was hearing that.
It did not make any sense. And I was like, and then I'm pretty sure, I'm not sure how cited this is, but I'm pretty sure I saw that there was Facebook groups, white supremacy Facebook groups that made up that people were getting bussed in. And I was just like, well, I'm not surprised. Facebook is the reason why, Russia got into our general election. They also make all these fake ads and all these fake news stories. That's another documentary series you can watch about, is that they had all these fake news come in and, turn how people think about certain politicians and how they think certain props are going to be, and it totally just fake news is everything. And then that's where I honestly think Donald Trump got the term fake news, is because he implored it himself.
Yeah, for sure.
So
definitely coined that word.
Yeah, he definitely coined it, and I think it's from personal experience and why he coined it. And then I just saw all this bullshit, and then everything that happened with Santa Clarita, and then they had their city council meeting, not the one tonight, but the one the last 2 weeks ago. And Marsha McLean was like, no one thinks Santa Clarita is racist. Santa Clarita is perfect.
Are you serious?
Yeah, she said a lot of bullshit.
Everywhere is racist.
Yeah.
There's not one place that's not racist. I mean, there's racism everywhere, right? Not meaning that everyone is racist, right? But there are racist people everywhere. There are anti-Semitic people everywhere. There are good people everywhere.
Yeah.
To say that there are no racists in Santa Clarita is a crock of shit.
Yeah.
And then the whole story about busing people in, obviously fake news, right? Mm-hmm. And on top of that, it was just to stir up the pot and make people scared, right? It's I heard from so many, elderly people. I don't want to say elderly. I'm not trying to age. Whatever. The point is these things that are happening, and then you have the armed guard or the National Guard come in over some Facebook group or someone putting out a word. It's just fucking crazy.
Yeah.
You were able to get, I don't know, thousands of people out there to come and stand up for something that needs to be spoken about, needs to be talked about.
We need to face it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's I'm so mad because I'm going to go to this one thing, right? The whole Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter thing, right? Why don't people out there understand when you say all lives matter, what that means to the movement of Black Lives Matter? What the fuck? I forgot who said it. It was if a house was burning, right? If a house was on fucking fire, would you go and put water on the houses around it?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit on the other ones, but
all
everything.
houses
No. It's this one thing that needs to be taken care of. And so when people say all lives matter, which was a direct correlation of Black Lives Matter, because it would have never came out. They were not saying the word all lives matter. I could be wrong, but I totally believe that it was stemmed from that. Just all of these things that are happening, it's we have to wake up.
Yeah, and it's not like they're saying Black Lives Matter more.
Yes, no.
They're just saying Black Lives Matter.
Yes, they do.
Just matter.
They do. And I don't understand because I'm not black, right?
Yeah.
You don't understand because you're not black.
Yep.
But we can
empathize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good word, right? We can empathize, and then we can do things to stand up and make a difference.
And then once Black people are treated nicely with respect and not shot in the back, then we can say all lives matter.
For sure.
Once you prove that a Black life is important, then you can say, okay, now we all matter. Because obviously we don't, because it's been the same bullshit since, even in Santa Clarita, we've had KKK rallies in the 60s.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, I have newspaper articles about it. It's going to be in the documentary. I have so much shit on how Santa Clarita has had, even in the 80s, I think it was 89, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 88, 89. There was a black couple, a black family that moved in, and they received a burning cross on their lawn. That was their welcome present to Santa Clarita.
Are you fucking serious?
And I was like, this happened in our hometown. I told my dad about it. He was like, oh, I'd never heard about that. I was like, yeah, no one's never heard about that because it's been swept under the rug.
Of course.
And like, that's exactly what made me want to make this, is after seeing what the city council member said, them staying quiet. They say Santa Clarita is not bad. This shit doesn't happen here. Blah, blah, bullshit. I was like, all right, I'm going to just shit on your parade and make everything that you guys say not happening in light now. So
100%.
And I'm bringing it back to the 60s. I'm going to try to get anyone that was around SCB in the 60s, talk to me about what happened. Even if you were a closeted old racist.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it, that's what this documentary is here for. So I'm trying to get everyone and anyone to talk to me about it.
It's amazing. That really is amazing. If you find any information on that, let me know.
Yeah.
Daniel. That being said, for you, being white, right?
Mm-hmm.
How is it perceived? Like, putting together that rally, have people said anything? I mean,
not negative. A lot of my friends were just like, make sure people of color were being heard. I was like, obviously, I'm just going to talk about, like, I literally brought up more issues about Bob Keller. I talked about, I pretty much threatened I challenged all of city council members, telling them that we're coming for you. Your change needs to start with replacing all of you. You guys have stayed silent. So I pretty much just, like, brought awareness of the things that city council's doing wrong for our people of color and all the citizens of SCB. And then I also told, like, hey, my friend, me and Tori, we organized that Friday protest, and we said, like, hey, if anyone of color wants to talk, if anyone wants to say anything, like, we're making speeches, and when we go to City Hall, just let us know so we can make sure we have, like, at least somewhat organized. So that's all it was. And I let some people talk. I went and talked about what I want to see the city council members do. And then more people of color talked. We went to the sheriff's station, more people talked. So it was definitely, we just kind of, like, we said a few things. We let everybody else that want to have, it's like an open mic kind of a thing. We let everybody talk about it. So it wasn't, everyone with this movement, with Black Lives Matters, it's all love.
It is.
That's all they want. It's just love and respect, and to honestly, like, treat everybody with just care and compassion and empathy. And so that's what this movement's all about. And so I just don't get why we were on Thursday, that Thursday rally, why we were shown up with the Guard, the National Guard. Like, that doesn't make any sense when we're all just, like, I have never heard of a riot happening in Santa Clarita.
No.
I don't think I'll ever hear of a riot happening in Santa Clarita.
I can't say ever, but it's so hard to believe.
I doubt it.
So what was that? Was it just a force of muscle because there were other riots that had happened, but there were rallies everywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. It's again, them just wanting Santa Clarita to be a perfect little town.
Of course,
keeping everything under the rug. So
it was scary. Mm-hmm. Like, it was really, really scary. And then to see that you and you guys were the one to put this together. What was it, you and your friend?
We put the Friday one together. I don't know who did Thursday. Like, that's what I had a problem with, is, like, we were trying, because we were, like, a week before we were putting it together. Like, I told the what is the hometown station here in Santa Clarita? It's like KTH. I can't remember the name of it.
I don't know. The news station?
Yeah, it's a little,
like, news station in Santa Clarita.
Yeah, it's not the Signal, but it's my friend David works there. But I protested by myself, just saying, like, where's all the people?
KHTS.
Yeah, that KHTS.
Okay.
I was protesting, and they came out and took a statement from me, and I was like, I'll be back out here next Friday. And then that's when me and my friend Tori started making the protest and putting it together, like, hey, we should get a lot of people, we should make speeches, this is about demanding what we want the change in City Hall, blah, blah, blah. And then we, like, Sunday came around, and we heard about this Thursday rally, and I was, like, so busy on my phone. My boyfriend's like, Jesus Christ, because I was just like, who's putting this together? There's going to be, like, apparently the National Guard there. Like, there's so much, like, everyone's getting bussed in. I don't believe this. I want to know who's in charge of this, because I know the people that put together the Saturday rally before that. So, like, I know a lot of the people that are the activists in Santa Clarita. So I was like, who's doing this? And no one claimed it. No one claimed that they started this rally. So I honestly think it was just a fake. That's what makes me believe that
Fake
it was
news.
a fake news thing from someone that wants, to stir up trouble, like the people that drive by with their American flag trucks and they stop and like rev their engine and flip us off and say like all lives matter.
It's
like
so
those
pathetic.
are the people I think that like started it, because no one claimed it. Even after the rally, no one claimed putting it together. No one said like, oh yeah, we organized this. Like, so I think it was just totally fake. And the fact that Santa Clarita City Council reacted that way without any evidence and proof and knowledge. Like if they would have come out and talked to the community like, hey,
That would have been amazing.
Who's doing this?
Fucking have
Yeah.
the mayor come out. Have fucking some people of city council come out.
Someone.
Why are all the fucking National Guards, like, I know they have a job, right? And I'm sure a lot of them probably didn't even want to fucking be there in the first place, right? Because I heard stories of like in Washington, D.C. when they brought them out, and like there were like tons of people that are part of the guard that said,
no, I don't want to do this.
yeah, I don't want to fucking do this, right? But like even the cops, like they're just fucking being dicks, man.
I saw a lot of
They
them
almost ran
smiling.
me over.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And then also City Hall was canceled those 2 days.
It just fucking like
And I was
pathetic. Like,
like,
speak to the
wow.
people.
I was like, you guys are going to close City Hall and then hide behind. And then I'm pretty sure my friend told me that even the people that aren't, like, city council members weren't there, but the little people that ran, City Hall, the people that, like, the runts, I would want to,
Yeah.
like, they're not called runts. I don't wanna be, like,
That's so
mean
fucked
about
up.
it. But, like, the smaller, at the end of the pyramid,
Yes.
those people that have to run City Hall, they were all forced to be there, I think. But city council members weren't. But I could be wrong about that. Friday, for sure, they were working there. And just city council
But
members
why didn't
weren't
they
there.
come out and say a message? Why did they bring all of those people out? And they could be like, well, because of all the riots happened. But what, the cops weren't enough? So you had to bring out the National
I know.
Guard?
Like, you guys had everything
You had to fly
lined. You
helicopter.
had to, it's ridiculous.
I seriously felt like it just was some other time than 2020.
I didn't get it.
When we showed up to the protest, I've been to protests before, right? I've never seen that in my entire life. And
I didn't understand it.
And they were just being assholes.
And it was so funny that they closed down the street. And so we marched down to, we were like, all right, well, the street's closed and this is safe for us. So we're going to march to the sheriff's station. And they were like, get off the street. And I'm like, you guys closed it down. I was like, we wouldn't be in the street if it wasn't closed.
Yes,
I was like, well, you did that.
And they kept on getting closer, and like, especially in front of the sheriff's station, like closer and closer and closer, and like
It was sketch.
It was like, like, why are you treating these people like criminals? This is one of the biggest reasons why
We're protesting.
people are protesting. It's like you cannot continue to do this,
Exactly.
right? And this is to like, this is to everyone with the protesters, right? But we obviously have a real problem against, the Black, Hispanics, Jewish people.
Yeah,
like, there's so
you know
many
how
fucking
many people I've heard, like the testimonials I'm getting from people for this documentary. It's like, I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, how is this even happening here? Like, I grew up oblivious to it because of my color of my skin, and now I'm hearing it, and I'm like, well, this is your platform. I'm gonna be using my white privilege to help you guys.
Yes.
Like, this is what I'm here for. Let's fucking do this.
Absolutely. A lot of people hate that word white privilege,
Whatever.
right?
It's a real thing.
It's a fucking real thing, right?
If you don't understand it, then you're
fucking
ignorant.
I'm sorry, you're ignorant,
Yeah,
right?
you're very
It
ignorant.
doesn't mean that you are
A bad person. It's not saying
no.
anything about your personality. It's just the truth. Like,
it is the truth. And it doesn't mean that you got a good deck of cards and that you have a good family or that money. It has nothing to do with that. But there is systemic racism in our country and all over the world.
yeah, and
all
it's
over the
also
world.
sexism too. Sexism
Oh
is a
my
big
God,
deal with all
yeah,
of it. So
yeah.
it's just like, I'm nervous about getting in the film industry because look how many we only have one female nominated Oscar for Best Director, and it was about a fucking war movie. Yeah. So I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so nervous to get in, but I'm just like, fuck it, let's do this.
No,
Like,
do you think things are changing? Do you think that this time is going to be any different than the last time? Speaking with your friends, getting testimonials, do they feel that this could be different? Not that it's going to change everything, but that there are real changes coming.
honestly, they are a little bit nervous to, like, some people are nervous to come. Like, I've asked, like, oh, do you want to come and be on? Like, they'd be like, oh, they messaged me because they heard that I was getting testimonials. And they're like, oh, this is my story. What happened? They just, like, tell me the story real quickly. I'm like, okay, did you want to be on camera? And they're like, no, I'm a little nervous about that. I'm like, I can make sure you're anonymous. You won't be seen. Like, but they're still nervous because they don't want to, like, they don't want to make it even harder for themselves, to
Not
come
at all.
out and talk the truth. And it's just like, when I'm hearing from Santa Clarita, when I listen to these city council meetings, they just keep denying it. Like, they keep saying, like, this is wrong. Like, Marsha got so defensive tonight. I was listening on my way over here, and she was like, how dare you call us ignorant and small-minded, and like she just got so offended by it. And I was like, you should be listening to these kids. Yes. Like, it's so many young people talking about it, and they're like saying that they're really offended and hurt by what Bob Keller said and did, and we want change. And you guys he won't even apologize for what he said when he's like, I'm not racist. That was taken out of context. It's like,
what did he say?
He was like,
I actually sent that one to you.
Okay. Oh, you did?
I did. I don't know if it's too late now.
All right. Do you mind sending it one more time? Yep. Send it again.
No, you're okay, hon. It's just, he said, like, if okay, you read it. Okay,
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're
so
fine.
Sorry.
I just want to make sure you have it.
No, yeah, definitely.
This is when he originally said he was a proud racist.
Mm-hmm. He's like, if that makes me a racist, then I'm a proud racist.
He said, if that makes me racist, I'm a proud racist.
He also quoted a Teddy Roosevelt quote saying, "One flag, one language." But I looked up that quote, and it's really taken out of context. Like, that part of it was bad, but if you read the whole thing earlier in the paragraph in that quote, he also talks about if a man wants to come to this country and fight for this country and live free, then we can't judge him and like treat him any differently than any man here. And then later he says one flag, one country, and I'm guessing it's because of the time he was in. But I think if he was in our time, if he was like born this time and he was leading and one of our leaders in this time, I don't think he would have said one flag, one country. He would have just been like a united country under one flag, some shit like that.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
If you look at the whole quote, like Bob Keller, when he gets all pissy that his shit was taken out of context, well, he took Teddy Roosevelt's shit out of context.
For sure. And why the fuck are you saying you're a proud racist?
Yeah, I don't
I don't give a fuck what's out of context. Anything, like everything that you said about, Teddy, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I could see. I definitely understand exactly what you're saying. But when you say proud racist to a group
as soon as that goes out of your mouth.
As soon as that goes out of your mouth, it's fucking crazy, right? It's fucking bonkers.
Mm-hmm. Like, you can't, no matter who you are.
Oh, this is the quote?
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. From the Times. What the fuck did he say? Where did he say it? No apology from city council who called himself a proud racist. A city councilman in Santa Clarita doesn't plan on apologizing for shouting out that he is a proud racist during a recent anti-illegal immigration rally in the suburban community of Los Angeles County. Bob Keller, a 10-year councilman and two-time mayor, says his words were taken out of context. According to Los Angeles Times article from the Times, this councilman's words have ignited an angry war of words in suburban county or community over whether the longtime civic leader is a hate monger who should be driven from office or a patriot unafraid to speak out for fellow Americans. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, it's
man.
insane. And like, he's just like, even if you say proud racist, one, you should apologize immediately. You should, even if you were just saying something stupid one time. Like, we've all said stupid shit.
Of course.
I get that.
I say stupid shit all the time.
I understand it. It's
100%.
fine. You're human. And Bill Miranda was like defending him. He's like, we're all human. And he gave this stupid speech today about the Amazing Grace song, and it's about forgiveness and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, he didn't even apologize. No. How can I forgive someone that doesn't want to be forgiven for something he did? Like, he doesn't even want to forgive himself for what he did. Like, how do you expect us to forgive him for what he said? So it's just, like, so ridiculous that, like, they're like, you just want a pound of meat. You just want, like, flesh to, like, I was like,
no.
Like, no. We want him to say sorry. We want him out of our office because we don't need anyone with that mentality and willing to say those things in power. None of those people should have power that say shit like that.
But the power starts at the top, right? It's like you have the president, Donald Trump, saying the stupid things that he always says, not wearing a mask, not doing this, fucking saying that, he wishes testing would slow down.
Yeah, he's like, we won't grow in cases if we don't test.
It's like, are you fucking kidding me? Just shut the fuck up. Like, first off, why are you doing a 19,000 person rally with, only, 12,000 people there? However, there was a lot of people that didn't show up.
Yeah, and it was pretty funny.
They could be like, oh, it was TikTok and all of that shit. No, you guys said you got rid of 1 million tickets. Or that's exactly what they said. And then on top of that, he was supposed to do a second, appearance, and they canceled that. So if all those seats were taken by, people that did it online or whatever, wouldn't there be another speech? Because all those people are waiting to get inside.
Yeah. Would they want their money back or something?
Of course. I don't even know if it was some. I don't fucking know, right? But that's besides the point. But it starts at the top. So it's like you have all these, congressmen, senators, councilmen, and women, saying these crazy things, and not like they never said them before, but I just feel,
well, since he's become president, it's okay. And when Obama was president, there was a lot of political correctness and
Yes.
being like respect. And even like when people are like, oh, I got to be politically correct. It's like, no, you just have to be respectful.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong. I make some sexist jokes when I'm with my friends
Yep.
because we get each other.
Yes.
We know each other on that level.
Yep.
I'm not going to go to a random stranger and say some fucked up joke to them because I
Thank
don't know
you.
them.
Thank
so,
you.
like, it's humor isn't
Thank
dead.
you.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's ridiculous.
No, it is so true. What we say to our friends behind closed doors, right? Joking, things that maybe if we said it, on a microphone at an anti-illegal immigration rally,
Not okay.
Not okay. But I'm sorry, you're at an anti-illegal immigration rally and you say you're a proud racist. You're saying that stuff, but worse behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You making silly jokes or me making silly jokes with my friends. I would never in my right mind think of ever doing anything like that.
And it's like your friends respect each other. Like I respect my friends. I would never say anything that would hurt, mean to hurt them, and they know that. So that's why it's okay because we understand each other's pain. So that's why we can. That's human. A way to get over something is to joke about it. Sometimes that's how people let out things that are happening to them. So humor isn't dead. I think when people get all upset about being politically correct, it's like no, just be respectful. That's all we want is you to be respectful.
No, that's exactly what we want. Yeah. And that's definitely gone out the window, right?
Yeah, especially since Trump.
Of course, I ask people all the time, they like Donald Trump, right? And fucking hoorah Trump. Do you think our country is in a better place now or 4 years ago?
I think our country is fucked.
Literally all of them say 4 years ago. But that's what they say. But.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you watch on Comedy Central, Trevor,
No.
on the Daily
Show.
Daily Show, that's it. Yeah. He has one of his guys go out and interview people at Trump rallies, and oh my God, the shit they say is so funny. They're like, think for yourselves, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, okay, yeah, so think for yourselves. But did you read the impeachment trial and all the evidence against him? And they're like, no. Oh, so did you skim it? No, someone else talked about it. Oh, okay, but you said think for yourself though, right? And he's like, yeah, think for yourself. But you didn't read it. No. Okay, but think for yourself. It's so funny the shit that they talk about.
Fucking
and it just shows
crazy.
you they don't care. They don't care what's right and wrong. They just want a white America. That's
Yeah.
all they want is a
Yeah.
white America.
Do you think when people say that everyone voted for Trump is racist, do you believe that?
I wouldn't say that. I just think they don't know anything else. But a lot of the people that go there grew up in a certain place where they can't get out of a racist family. A lot of people, it starts at home. You're not born racist.
Hell no.
It's a learned trait. So
Yes.
it's when I tell people that want to defund the police and put it in your schools, I'm like, yeah, we need to do that because people that are in a racist family and they go to school that's racist and they don't get a good education or they don't get an education about the truth of what happened in our past, like slavery, all the Holocaust, everything that we've done as a country, even the Japanese camps that we had, everything that's happened here. If you don't put a good education in front of them, they can't grow from their racist family. They just end up
it's a bubble.
Yeah, they just keep the system. What is that called? Rotation.
The door. I don't know.
How's
he supposed to know? He's supposed to read your mind.
Generation after generation, they keep the system going. Cycle. That's the word. Cycle.
Yes,
yeah. They don't
cycle.
break the cycle at all. So I think it's just all connected, and they also don't understand. They vote a lot of Trump supporters will be like, well, he's a businessman and that's why I voted for him. I'm like, he has fucked every business deal he's ever been at. I was like, do you know Taj Mahal? That was the biggest disaster in history in the Wall Street because of how fucked over he did everything. He cuts corners. He cuts everything that's important. He defunded our we got out of the Paris Agreement. We got out of all of our the pipelines back.
Nuclear deal, the pipelines, all
everything.
That shit.
And I'm like, he's cutting all. He defunded the pandemic.
The Paris Accord.
Yeah,
right?
Paris Accord and the pandemic. Their pandemic response, whatever.
No,
emergency.
The WHO, right?
Yeah.
Yep, right.
So he defunded
World Health Organization.
Yeah, he defunded all that shit because
they did some shady shit.
Yeah,
though.
because they don't. Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's shady is the right word, but not saying that Trump was right. Definitely don't think because they do a lot of good. But then
it goes with corruption.
Shit.
Everything.
Of course, it's everything. But he just, I kind of bring it back real quick when the term, right? Go away from Trump. Defund the police. They need to come up with a better fucking slogan.
Yeah.
Because I understand what they mean. They don't mean get rid of cops. No, cops are overworked, overbooked. They're sent, to crime stuff, to abuse stuff, to this stuff, to that stuff, to that stuff. When it's like, no, if you had a system where it's like, someone's calling about abuse, then you send some type of I don't know, some type of therapist, cop type thing, right? Social worker. If you have a crime, then you send the cop, right? If you have this person, you send to that. I mean, at least that's what my interpretation of defund the police is.
Yeah, it's taking the funds that are putting all this. It's because we militarized the police after on the war on drugs. Yep. That's when we militarized the police.
Bullshit.
So that's it was
really
right.
helped.
It was right after segregation was abolished. So then all of a sudden there's this war on drugs. That's funny. Thanks, Nixon. And then Reagan solidified it, and then fucking Clinton just gave them all the money. That's pretty much what happened. But they, it's just that's when became militarized. So then they have all this money to pretty much do whatever they fucking wanted. And then now our social workers are gone, mental health, our health and care. Like if our health care was better too, like, someone that has mental issues and they need to have like, good mental health care, they can't do that because we don't have a health system now.
Yes.
So like everything is just connected, and like that goes back to, if we put money in our schools, if we put money in the healthcare, and we put money in our social workers, then we can, start healing this country.
Absolutely.
But it's just like, even if the cops just made it so that they just respond to everything. Like they're the only place that's open 24/7 that we can call to get. But it's just, we also have a lot of racism in the system. Yeah. So it's just like now people of color can't call whoever they want. They're just stuck with their abusers, stuff like that.
It's sad. It's really sad. The cops are overworked, right? Let's throw, like, we get rid of all bad cops, right? Like all fucking racist cops. Get rid of all of them. Still, they're overworked. Exactly. Not one person, especially when you have 4 months of training.
Yeah, they need longer training.
My cosmetology license takes longer than it is, to go through to fucking hold a gun and go training for a cop, right? Which is fucking mind-boggling. Yeah. And then they have to take care of all of these different issues when they're not trained for it. They're not trained for it.
And they don't want to deal with it too. Like they don't want to deal with, a mental person having a breakdown in the middle of somewhere, because like I get it, when people have mental issues in the middle of somewhere, sometimes they can be dangerous, and I totally understand that. And my boyfriend's dad's a cop. I totally understand what it's like to be in his shoes, but that's when we need programs that will go out with the cops and help try to calm the situation. When they can't, then that's when they try to like tackle them down, try to do everything. But it's just it's a delicate balance, and like instead of them trying to like figure it out, they're just like, well,
just throw money, more money.
We can't do it. So
just throw another $100 million, $500 million, $1 billion at it. That'll really fucking fix it, bro. Yeah, no, fuck no, it's not.
And it's also like, if you look at where the cops are at, like they're not, I live in a really nice neighborhood, and I don't ever see a cop up there unless there's a situation that gets called, I don't see him patrolling around. So there's not, and I actually, talked to people that worked in the Santa Clarita Sheriff Station, like they're patrolling, but there's a lot more patrolling in Canyon Country. There's a lot more patrolling down here in Newhall. So it's like, just
weird,
because they're
right?
in front of a black community doesn't mean,
or Hispanic, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't, it's fucking crazy, but they it's like bees and honey, right? That's where they're gonna go. And it's really, really sad. But that word defund the police has ignited, the conservative party, right? The Republican Party, because they're like, oh, they want to get rid of police, cops, right?
And
but kind of bad branding on whoever came up with that word, because branding is important. I don't give a fuck if it's for a cause or not, right? Defund the police. They need to switch the word.
It's just like restructure. They need to restructure.
Well, like the police, right? They need to restructure the police, change the word. But the cause is it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense to me. Especially me dealing. I'm manic bipolar. I fucking have up and down episodes, right? And I know that if I was someone else that was farther down the line or didn't have structure like I do, they could flip out an instant and like crazy shit can happen, and a cop is not going to be able to
handle that situation.
Not all cops. There probably are some out there that can, right? But they're not, and so it's like we need to figure out a better program that is able to take care of these individual issues.
What's actually really funny? I was watching. I want to say last week they had a Zoom session with the LA. They had a Zoom session with LA County Sheriff, with our chief of our department, the whole station here in SCV, and then it's also the commissioner of LA Sheriff, and they were telling us that there's this homeless program that only those deputies go out to homeless issues, and they only want to talk to those deputies. They don't want to talk to anybody else. I'm like, well, that's a cool program. Yeah. Why don't you guys try to expand on that program and make it bigger? And then they were telling us that there's this 1-800 fucking number to call and complain about deputies that are breaking the law or doing this. I'm like, okay, I've lived here all of my life and I have never heard that number before.
No.
Never. I was like, you guys have Twitter, you have an Instagram, you have a fucking website, and the website's kind of bullshit because it's the whole LA County website, and to get to you have to go through all these hurdles to find anything on that fucking website. But you have an SCV Sheriff's Facebook, you have an SCV Sheriff's Twitter, and SCV Sheriff's Instagram, and same with the Santa Clarita City. They have all those same outlets for social media. You guys can at least put up hey, we want to be transparent. If there's any issues going on in our department, please call this number, and put it up once a week.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't understand how that's so hard. That's what the change we want. If you can start making, it's not even a big step.
No,
it's a baby step, and it's showing us that you want to have a transparent relationship with us, and we want to have, the way this country is being run, a revolution is not long.
It's definitely strange times, definitely fueled by COVID, and then it was just and it's just popped. And it's good to see people out there fighting for, a just cause. We're going to look back, history's going to look back at this time, and put it at, a level of the shit in the 60s, right? Yeah. Because of just all the craziness that has been happening. For you to kind of get back to your story, has this always been something part of you, activism and things that you're fighting for?
I've never acted upon it too much, again, because I grew up in SCV where it's just we don't deal with that here, so I don't need to do anything. But I've always, when I see something, I get riled up, and I was like, what can I do? And I'll try to help by, signing a petition or donating somewhere, little things that I can do to help. And then just ever since, I found out that we have so much shit going on here, I can at least start small here, but there's so much going on in the country, I honestly think we need to restructure this whole country, and I don't think...
Good luck.
I know, right?
Good luck.
That's hard to do, but that's why I was like, well, I can at least start here. We can at least try to make a change here, and I can at least do that with the only, way I know how with my filmmaking, so that's what I'm trying.
It really is beautiful, to see more younger people out there standing for a just cause. It doesn't matter about the color of your skin. It matters what's on the inside.
Yeah, it doesn't matter your age, sex, anything.
No, none of that shit. Where do you see this going, though? I asked you before, but really, where do you see a revolution really happening?
Yeah, well, I hope so. It's ridiculous.
You don't want a revolution I promise. I don't know how much you read on the revolution, but that shit was fucking crazy.
Well, it's just, we have such a corporate, it's corporate America, and they run, there's Alec that runs, it's pretty much a golf club for all these rich corporations that make bills for the governors to pass and the Senate to pass. So the corporations make bills in America.
Yeah.
That's how fucked up America is. So it's just we just need to we can start small with, restructuring the police system, putting funds into the correct places where it needs to be, and then maybe we can move up. But it's just I hope the FBI is just getting on people for everything when it comes to they did today when it came to the LA City Council member Lewis. I can't remember his last name, but he got arrested today by the FBI because of his, bribery, getting paid off. He also had a sexual assault charge, and he got...
Holy shit.
Yeah, and he had an Asian company pay him $600,000, and then when he didn't pay the bank for the loan to pay off the settlement for the rape charges, then, or maybe not rape, I don't know if it was full-blown rape or just sexual, misconduct.
Yeah, let's find that out if you find it, Daniel. Drop it to me.
And then he, after that, he got arrested today with FBI with that. So it's just like, I hope the FBI keeps going. I hope they go through everywhere. They even if it's just starting local in LA, like, I hope they're just leaving out all the fucking assholes that are getting butt off for shit and not working. Like, being in the government is a public service.
Yeah.
You work for us.
Yes.
And like, we have CEOs in the White House, and they don't work for anybody. They have a CEO mentality, and they work for themselves, and they make their own money, and they make their own rules. So it just sucks that that's what people have voted into our office, people that want to get money and bought out, and they don't want to have a public service life. So that's where the revolution needs to be.
For sure. But do you think Joe Biden's the one to bring the change? Or Bernie Sanders?
Well, I don't want a too public. I'm so tired of this party system.
Yes.
I'm so tired of it.
I could not agree with you more.
We need
Why?
to get rid of it. Why? It just splits us up, and it makes it even harder to make any change.
Of course, absolutely. Why do we have a two-party? It's like yes or no, black or white, this way or that way. It's fucking chaos.
It's so dumb.
I want to bring it back to real quick what you talked about. Jose Huzar, Los Angeles City Councilman known as the Boss, was arrested Tuesday on allegations he masterminded a $1.5 million pay-to-play scheme tied to the approval of large building projects. Prosecutors said he and his cronies, including some already charged who have agreed to plead guilty, sought to illegally profit from the development of the city's burgeoning downtown district. Him and his associates sold themselves to the highest bidder, blah, 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 blah. U.S. Attorney Nick Hanna said in the news conference after the councilman's arrest. Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of shit. I was actually just got out of my class, and I saw it on the news, and I was like, oh, I'm so happy I saw this.
Thank you.
It was insane.
Yeah. What?
I found that article from St. Louis. It was not as publicly displayed in Los Angeles articles.
Isn't?
Oh,
what
really?
The fuck?
That's weird.
Not to say that it could be just because it's breaking.
Yeah, it was a breaking news, like it said breaking news on the
Yeah,
headline.
but you still should be able to find that in LA Times or something like that, right? Yeah, that's crazy, right? And that shit happens all the fucking time.
Just like the Kike Hernandez story.
Yeah.
That guy, that only blew up because one reporter was checking like the it's like the police charge like database site, and he saw like about him, and he's like, whoa, that social worker's been called to that place so many times, and this kid's dead now. So that blew up only because that one reporter saw it. So it's just like, we need people looking under the rug and be like, what's here? Because that's what. So it's also ridiculous how like Trump keeps firing people
he does.
that hold him accountable for what he's doing. Like, that's part of our government, is we have people that are going to question and bug the shit out of you because that's their job.
Yeah.
That's what they're supposed to do, to make sure you're doing the right thing for the right reasons.
Oh, of course.
And he's firing all of them.
No, and he does. And fuck that.
That's
but to bring it back like to the two-party system, right? It's fucking bonkers,
It's
right?
horrible.
Why do we only have these two choices? It's
like, I'm more of an independent but I vote Democratic because like that's my only option.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I vote, and like a lot of people are like, we'll vote for independent or something, and it's like, I would totally vote for independent if everybody else was on the same page about it, because like we all need to be like independent. I just feel like independent is the way to go, because you're not thinking like, oh, well, this guy's Republican, so I'm just going to vote for him regardless of his fucking morals, regardless of how mean he is, regardless of what he does, regardless if he hangs out with sex offenders. Like,
it's
we're just going to vote for him. And then like the only option I have is Biden. Like, Biden tries. He's done some bad things in his life. I don't think he's the perfect savior of anything. And he's kind of dumb sometimes, but he's the only thing we have, or Trump. Like, those are my own two options.
It's so crazy that the Democratic Party decided to put someone that clearly has early, middle stages. I don't know. I'm not a neurologist. Stage of dementia, right? I mean, I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but
I don't really know too much about that.
When he drops the ball on so many important things, for the Democratic Party to then get behind that when there are so many other options that they could have picked, is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like one of the last days, like everyone that was running that had no clear sign of winning dropped out and got behind Biden.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if someone was bought out. I don't know. That's so
look what happened. The thing I always talk about on this podcast is like, I didn't understand in 2016 why the Bernie Sanders supporters would not, once like he lost, would not get behind Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
I didn't understand it back then. Flash forward to 2020, and I was a Bernie Sanders supporter, and not because I believed on everything that, like his bills and policies, but I believed on the sole fact that when you have a human being saying the same things, consistency from the 60s to today, that's who I can get behind.
Yeah.
Right? Not someone who constantly fucking flip-flops because where the money is, right? Or where this or that is, right?
Yep.
So I was so behind Sanders, and then just when all this shit happened, and then the Democratic Party would not get behind him.
He's just he's too left. Like there's too much that he
know,
wants to
but
do. Like, and that's the problem. He can't get. You need someone that can meet in the middle. Like sometimes there's some Republican shit that they'll say things. I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Of course, but
And
that's
then-
the way it should be, right?
And
Like,
so I wish we had not a party system. That's where the revolution needs to be. Is in
of course.
how our government is run. It's
No,
pretty
of
much-
course, and it really stems with like the congressmen, right? The senators, those individuals that can turn these things into lifelong jobs. When we have a president that's either
Only
4 or
exactly,
8 years,
yeah.
right?
It's ridiculous.
Why isn't there term limits?
Yeah.
There needs to be. We have to have, what was that word? Reuse, recycle, whatever that fucking the recycle 3 words are, right?
It's like
reduce, reuse, recycle.
There it is.
Boom, motherfucker. But it's so true. It's like we have to have that, because then you have a lot of these individuals who have new and fresh ideas and don't get stuck behind the system and the money and everything that pulls these people in, and then they're in there for 20, 30, 40 fucking years, and then they're just stuck in their ways, because once you get older, you get stuck in your fucking ways. It's just life.
It's bad. So I think we need it. And also, like, back then, the reason why, again, I'm going to bring this to the Second Amendment? Is that the guns one?
Yes.
Okay, Second Amendment. I just want to make sure I said that right.
Yep.
I'm dyslexic, so I read it wrong all the time.
It's all good.
They have, it's the Second Amendment is about having your right to own a gun.
Yep.
And the reason why they did that is so that if the government decided to do anything wrong, we could overthrow the government and change it. The government has nukes.
Yep.
We are never going to be able to do that with our assault rifles.
Of course not.
Because they have nukes.
No, not at all.
So the Second Amendment doesn't apply now. Like, if you want to protect yourself, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Do you need a submachine gun? No.
Probably not. But does a submachine gun... I agree with you. I agree with you on that, right? Like a fucking, like an automatic weapon, there's no need to have it, right? But fucking, guns, a handgun, a shotgun, you want to protect yourself. I mean, especially with everything going on.
Make sure you're safe.
Oh, of
mentally,
course. Absolutely.
all
of this.
And I don't want to take people's guns away, but I hope that we could go through a system where it's a little bit more protected. It's a little bit harder for people to get it. If we had a better health system and a better outlet for mental health issues, a lot of mental health patients won't get their hands on guns and have school shootings,
Absolutely.
In our school system, everything is all connected.
Yeah.
And once you start changing something, you can start putting, positive change on everything. And I think I'm not saying we need to take guns away, but I do think we need to, rethink our gun system and think about how if we put a little bit more money in our schools and open our mental health issues and our healthcare, then we can figure out how to make sure that guns are not in the wrong hands of people and there's not illegal guns in the streets and with gangs. And
of course,
people building guns at home, printing out guns. Like,
well, that's going to be the future. That'll definitely be the future. There definitely needs to be a better system with the guns, because if it's easier to get a gun than it is to get a driver's license, that's a problem. We need to have training. We need to have, better background tests.
Yep.
We need to have these systems, and people go, well, then they're just gonna, segregate. These people can have guns and these people can't have guns. Well, if you have a good system set up, then it's not going to be this or that.
And you don't have racist people running the system.
Of course.
No one will get segregated.
Of course, absolutely. But to take guns completely away,
I don't think that's going to solve anything.
That definitely won't, right? Yeah. Because mass shootings, although they have stopped temporarily, although I believe there was one just the other day. I don't know how big of a mass shooting was, but that's neither here nor there. They are going to come back. And I was just watching the final episode of 13 Reasons Why, TV show on Netflix, right? And I don't know, maybe it was in the final episode, it was episode 7 or something like that of the last season, and the final season, and the school, I don't mean to do a spoiler alert, but whatever. If you listen, turn it off right now and come back in 5 minutes. Yeah. And the school decided to do an actual, gun drill, but they sent in someone to shoot off blanks and all of this crazy shit where the kids really thought it was a fucking gun, right? And they really thought there was a shooter in there. why the fuck is that even even thought of in 2020?
They're building schools that have like gun protection, like
the layout,
the way it's
everything.
built, like it's a new school getting built, and they have like gun drills and gun protection for the students built into the school too. And I'm just like, oh my god,
it's fucking crazy.
Why do we need this?
I had one of my old clients. He was a really awesome kid. He was about 23 years old. He had Asperger's, and he told me the story about when he was younger. That he was always the kid in the back of the class in high school, and he got made fun of his entire life. And there were many times throughout his high school career where he wanted to fucking, take his parents' gun and blow the fucking school up.
Yeah.
And I asked him, well, why? And he goes, I'm really happy that I didn't, right? And this was after the Sauga shooting that we were having this conversation. He goes, for me, especially when I was younger, the pain that I felt from all the kids making fun of me, I was so mad that no one stopped or did anything, right? Yeah. That I wanted everyone to feel my pain. And I was like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of fucking sense, especially when you have stuff going on in your brain, right, that you can't control. And so there are so many kids out there that are going through this because, let's be honest, going through high school, it fucking sucks. Like for a lot of kids out there, junior high school, kids are fucking mean. Your frontal cortex is not fully developed until you're 25 years old, and kids are just fucking assholes, right? They don't know any better, right? And especially the environment they grow in, and it's like, oh yeah, do this, ha ha ha, and fucking kids just trying to show how big their shit is. It's like, dude, no, that's not how it should be. But we can't change that. But we actually can. We can start educating.
Yes.
We can create a better system and be more open about this. And therapy is fucking huge. I go to therapy once a week, and it changed my fucking life.
Yeah.
To be able to find a good therapist that you can, relate, open up with, and just have that person be there for you and kind of guide you, not hold your hand, but guide
help
you
you
along.
Understand and make sense of things.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that's a big problem again with, like I said before, putting money in the schools, but it's just like school. I was bullied all my life. All my life I was bullied. I was a weirdo. I was the hyper kid in the class, like doing weird shit. Like I didn't have many friends, that's for sure, but like, I totally understand when he says, like, I wanted everybody else to understand, like, my pain because no one did anything. It's like, that's where you need to teach your kid. That comes along with parenting and being a good teacher. Like, you guys need to understand, like, it's not okay to, to sit by and let this happen. Just like and adults do this, just like your city council members. It's not okay to sit by and let this shit happen. It's not okay to sit by.
Speak up.
And let Bob Keller say he's a proud racist. Like, it goes everywhere. So it's just like, we just all have to start, changing within ourselves, within our homes, within our schools. That's why I'm starting so small with hometown, because it starts here.
Yeah.
When I have kids, I want them to be in a town that they're proud of being. And everyone that I know that lives in Santa Clarita is like, yeah, I just didn't want to do anything. Like, I just ignored Santa Clarita and put my attention elsewhere because I don't want to be a part of. I just want to ignore it. And I'm just like, well, if you ignore it, then it's never going to change.
Exactly.
So you have to be a part of it.
No, you have to. And you have adults doing it, you have teenagers doing it, you have kids doing it, you have so many people doing it, and just turning a blind eye. If you're seeing someone get made fun of, right? If you're seeing someone get bullied, if you're seeing an adult saying that he's proud to be a racist at an anti-illegal immigration rally, even if you believe, like, illegal immigration is bad, right? So, okay, that's fine. You have that right to that belief.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm even talking right now. But if you have someone up there saying that they're proud to be a racist, call that motherfucker out, right? Because, the sole fact is, like, if you believe that illegal immigration is bad, does that mean you're a racist? No. You just, like, there are right ways and wrong ways to get in. Is it hard to fucking get into this place? Absolutely, right? Could there be better ways? Sure.
Yeah, that's not a conversation.
But it's a conversation, right? But to sit there and say that you're proud to be a racist, I don't give a fuck if you're joking or not. You're at the wrong place,
you
the
can't
wrong
be saying
time.
shit like that.
Like, it's like, you're not joking. Just shut the fuck up, dude.
Yeah.
Like, shut the fuck up.
It's so bad. So I don't know. I just like all of it when it comes down to, like I said, getting this country and stuff like that. It's just, you have to just stand up. Like, I saw this post and it was saying, she was like, if you're white and if you're white privileged, and you see someone of color getting stopped by the police, you better not stop. You better stop and stand there and watch what happens. And maybe she didn't say record it, but in my head I was like, and record it, and be there so that they know that the cops know that you're always watching them. And that's what we need to do. People with white, that is white, and people with white privilege need to stand up and be a part of this fight and do what they can to show, like, I stand with my black brother and sister, I stand with my Hispanic brothers and sisters, and I'm not going to let you guys sit here and, fucking shoot them in the back anymore. Like, I'm going to stand here and be with them, and I'll tell them if I see something happening, I'm going to be like, hey, what is he getting arrested for? What's going on? And then if not, if they won't let me, be around that, then I'll just film it.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to. I mean, we would have never found out about George Floyd if didn't film it. I do want to ask you this question about George Floyd, and because I am so fucking disgusted. Like, I have to say, when, I've seen in my life watching people be killed on, online and shit like that, videos, and I've seen someone die in real life. I remember the day that it happened, and my wife and I are sitting in bed, and I didn't know like the full ramification of what happened, right? And so we're watching the video, and to see the look on my wife's face, because she's never seen it, like never seen that happen before. Like, we shouldn't have to see that. I don't give a fuck if you're white, black. Like, we shouldn't have to see that. Our fellow American citizens shouldn't have to see
soul.
that. Human fucking soul shouldn't have to see that. Well, that individual, George Floyd, should have never, ever been through that. I don't give a fuck what he did or she did. Anyone going through getting arrested by the cops, he or she should never have to go through that system. But it seems, and this is where the question is, that the cops are trained to put their knees on the neck.
I don't understand why they do that.
Well, there you go. You kind of just answered my question. Why do you think that the training is like that?
Like, I don't know. I don't know if it goes back to when they militarized the cops. It's just they don't understand how to handle situations. They don't get enough training for it. They don't know how to de-escalate a situation without, and then the Republicans will argue, like, well, you should be doing what the cop says. And it's like, he was. Like, it was a fucking $20 bill.
Yeah.
And, like, it's just, if someone... Like, it was like that guy that fell asleep at the drive-thru and then got shot and stuff. It's like, well, he grabbed the taser and ran and tried to tase him. And I saw the officer go down. I was like, oh, fuck, you don't fuck cops like that.
Don't do that.
And so then I was like, but the other cop got out his gun. And I was like, well, he should have tried to get out the taser first or something, And then, call backup and be like, hey, we need to get this guy down, that's why we have multiple police officers, so you can find this guy, and then
Yeah, that one was strange.
It's I'm pretty sure you have his car, so you can get where he lives. Like, there's other way. Like, if you don't get him right, if he
just let him go.
Yeah, if you don't get him, you'll eventually get him because you have his car and his license plate right in front of you, and or call it back up, and you guys will all tackle him down on the ground.
High speed chases. Yeah. Like just let them fucking go.
Yeah.
You can't continue to do all this, like, or fucking like chase them or put other people's lives in harm. Like, and from the cops' mentality, it's like, well, we can't let this fucking asshole, drive like this and drive through red lights. And it's like, well, how much more damage are you causing, to other people around as well, right? And I don't know the right answer to that, but especially in that situation.
Well, it's crazy that, like, cops that are in high-speed chases, they end up always tackling the guy to the ground, and he never gets, he doesn't get shot unless it's a big shootout. Yeah, like, it's just like, I don't understand why all the cops can't. And I get there's different situations that happen, and if a cop's life is in danger and the guy has a gun and is shooting at you, like, obviously you're going to shoot back. Like, that makes sense. Yeah. But 9 out of 10 times, the people don't have guns.
No.
I was like, there's other ways to go about getting it, and, like, sure, I don't have all the answers. I'm not a cop. I don't understand. Like, I don't.
Yeah, of course.
can see, and, like, that's what people lack is, like, people lack empathy, so they don't see both sides of the story. And you have to see, like, I get it. The cop is, going on a daily basis. He can get stabbed at any time. He can get knifed. He can get cut. He can get, like, shot. He can get, like, tased. He can get all this shit happen to him.
So much shit, yeah.
And I totally get that. But then at the end of the day, like, he had a $20 bill, and you put his knee on his neck, and he was praying to his mom that was dead, saying, Mom, please, I'm sorry, Mom, like, and she's dead, and, like, you have a man doing that because you're putting your knee on his neck, like, that's unnecessary, and that's what we're trying to say is that, and, like, I get it, the other cop, you know, when it came to the guy tasing, like I can see where the cops thought he was threatened.
Yeah.
So, but maybe shoot his foot.
Yeah,
like,
but they're not trained.
shoot.
They're not trained. They're
Like,
trained to kill, right?
Yeah.
That is like when you fire a weapon,
It's
you're
right
trained
then
to
and
kill,
there.
right? It did in that situation. Did things happen so fucking fast that he didn't realize that he had his taser? Like, 'cause he
Yeah.
definitely shot the guy in the back. Like, that's fucking straight facts. We all saw it. Did he not know? Like, it's yeah, that's a fucking hard one.
Yeah.
Another one is like the guy. There was a guy during the George Floyd. One of the officers, I believe that he said something 2 times, and he was like a cop for like 3 days, 4 days. I don't know if you knew about
I didn't know about that now.
And he was saying something to you know to Siobhan, the guy who's putting the knee on George Floyd's neck, and he didn't even do anything. He was just sitting there like with his hand in his fucking pocket, like it was just
He didn't care.
like nonchalant.
It doesn't make any sense.
And they work together as security guards, I believe.
Dang.
Right? That's facts, right?
That
Okay.
is facts.
That is
So,
facts.
They probably never communicated to each
Okay.
other because one was the cop outside, one was the bouncer inside. And they have worked events together.
Okay.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, right? That's fucking crazy.
Like, and that's like Breonna Taylor's problem. Like, you know, none of the people are arrested for her getting shot when she was sleeping. And
She was
like,
fucking sleeping.
How do you justify that?
You
Why
can't
are
knock on a fucking door and
Like-
say like I'm coming. Like I don't get that.
I don't get why they came in guns blazing. It's a fucking apartment. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand that. And she like she was a really good citizen too. Like she was like a like a model citizen.
Yeah,
Like
she
did
was.
so much shit.
Yeah.
She was such a good person. Like I was just like don't understand how she got shot sleeping.
Well, because that no-knock warrant thing, right? It's like they can just barge in onto a place, which is not safe for them and not safe for the
Yeah,
people on the
I don't
inside.
care about that. That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
knock, I'm the cops, I'm coming fucking in.
Yeah.
So then Lay's like, no. Like, at
Like
least
I
say
get
something.
it if it's like a drug fucking ring meth lab with I get that, but
Still should knock.
But like it's because I get if they
Too
have to
many
go
innocent
in.
people are killed, though.
Yeah, if you go into like a meth lab, I get like that's the cinematic version of me though. Talking,
sure, I
like,
get it, I get it,
Because they
I
got to
get
go
it.
and sneak like
Yeah.
you like quiet. Like I get that, but I don't understand. Like I just think that everything needs to be like looked at by like, and I bet if we brought in statistics, I bet if we brought in anybody that brings in statistics, I bet you $20, they'll just be like, okay, this is why this is happening. If you look at all the past,
Of course.
that's now you know where we're going. So
Yeah.
one thing I'm learning in my statistics class is that you got to look at your past to know where you're going, and we don't do that.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, I know that 2/5 of cop killings are to black individuals,
Mm-hmm.
but can you mind looking up what the percentage of black people are that live in America? Just whites, blacks, Hispanics. I'd like to know that answer. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's just fucking mind-boggling. What do you expect to get out of with your documentary?
I just hope that the city council members listen to it. I hope that they just want to change.
Yeah.
Like they don't have to change overnight. You can't they're fucking old.
Yeah.
They're not going to change how old they are. I just hope that like this shows people. I know actually this guy Sebastian, he's running for something for COC. When it comes to like, I'm not 100% sure the title because I didn't know that you could get voted into things like that. But I think it has to do with like college admissions and stuff like that to make it fair. I could be wrong. I'll look into it. But he's running for something because he's a big activist out here in SCV. So
What's his name?
Sebastian.
Shout out. Do you know his Instagram off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head.
That's all good.
But he's trying to run and try to make things better. There's a few I saw when we were at the protest. I saw this I think it was his family, and they're running for city council at SCV, and I saw the little label on the car, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. Like we have people that want to be city council members that are, they might not be out here protesting with us, but I saw them drive around a little bit and like have a sign out the door and like saying that they hear us.
Yes.
That's all we want
That's all we want.
they hear us, and what can we do to fix this?
Exactly.
And none of them want to do that. They still are arguing with, like, tonight when I was on my way over, they're still arguing with people that are calling in about things. And it's like, don't argue. Just, one, Bob Keller apologized. Two, you guys sat here for 10 years and didn't disagree with anything that he said. So
you guys are at blame too.
yeah, you guys need to get out of here.
have to.
I hope that this help pushes them out. My dad's like, I told my dad all this stuff, and he's like, why don't you run? I was like, oh my God, Dad. I was like, maybe when I graduate.
Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez did it. I don't know. Was she like 29, 30? Fuck, she's young.
Yeah.
What's the number?
The answer, so as of 2019, it was 13.4%.
13.
Comparing it in the 2010 numbers, it was 14.1%. So I'd say roughly about 14.
14%. So 14% of America, is the Black community, right?
I hate it when people I get these arguments on social media where people are like, well, more white people get arrested than black people. I'm like, yeah, because there's more white people in America.
No shit, you dumb fuck.
That doesn't mean anything. I was like, you guys need to learn your numbers before you start fucking try to throw facts in my face when
That's
you're wrong.
Crazy.
Yeah.
14%, so 2/5 of cop killings. Damn. That's fucking crazy. That's really sad. But it's people like yourself. It's people like, the people you hang out with. It's like people like Sebastian that are, here to make real change. And, working on this documentary, what has been the hardest part?
I'm trying to get people to, I'm just trying to get the word out there so people have an outlet to talk. Like, I really want this just to be, it's going to be, it's going to be just them in the frame, them just saying their story. I'll be asking them questions to help, them be able to reiterate what they want to say correctly. So I'll be there helping them kind of smooth out their story, but that's pretty much all it is. It's just me behind the camera, them talking about it, me talking to them, and then them letting everyone in the city know what's really going on.
Yeah. I mean, I think that this is where little change can turn into big change, because if we start at the grassroots level at these, these smaller but bigger cities all around the nation.
Exactly.
That is where change. And it made me really happy, seeing the big protests, but the little protests.
Yeah, we keep going. I keep going out there with them because I want, I keep telling them, hey, if you know anyone, I'm out there with my sign, but I'm like, hey, you know anyone?
Yeah.
Come talk to me. But yeah, it's, as I was telling some people in my our culture, I have an art class too that I'm taking right now because it's part of my general ed, and it's a cultures class, and a lot of them will end up going off in tangents about shit that's going on, and I was like, it starts because it's kind of crazy how certain stuffs from the past kind of relate to now, and so I'll tell them okay, well we got kind of in this heated discussion with everybody about what we should do for change, what's going on with defunding the police, what we were talking about, how I think you should. Once you start one place, it's kind of a domino effect, and you can start changing everywhere else. And I told him, and you don't have to, and she was like, well, it's really overwhelming. And I was like, the grand scheme, I think we should, have a government makeover pretty much. Yeah. But, that's so huge, and I don't even know where to begin to think about how to change that. So I'm just going to start where I can be local and start at home, because that's where it all starts, is at your home place. And if you can start there, then you get another small town to change, and then you get another small town to change, and then soon you have a whole community and a whole state changing, and then you have another whole state changing, and then soon it's the whole country.
That's exactly it. We've been so stuck to, the Constitution, these pieces of paper that were written, hundreds of years ago.
With slave owners.
Exactly. It was such a different time. And it's okay.
Women were seen, not heard.
That's fucking crazy,
all
right?
Kinds of shit.
That is fucking, and that wasn't that long ago. Joe Rogan has a joke where it's pretty much we've been around only 3 people ago. Right?
Yeah.
Literally 3, people live to 100, right? So 300 fucking years ago, 3 fucking people. That's
3
how long,
generations.
right? But there have been change, right? There has been change, throughout these, 300 years in America. Do you think that we're going backwards though? Or do you think we're going forwards?
Yes, I think we were going backwards because we got back into cutting, with Trump being elected, he cut all of our environmental protection. Yeah. Anything environmental protection, not just EPA, anything that had to do with environment, he fucking cut that shit. And that's huge. We are honestly, as my joke, that I think COVID was Mother Nature's joke back at us, hi, you guys aren't doing anything to try to save me, so here's a fucking virus and a plague, fuck you. Honestly, that's what I think it is. But it was funny, my statistics teacher was there's normally an outlier plague thing, something that changes your statistics because it's every 100 years something big happens, and it's we were waiting for this pandemic to happen. I'm and no one government wanted to listen to that. So it's just crazy that I think we don't really care about we don't care about what was nice about the 50s besides of segregation, sexism, and plastic becoming a thing. besides the shitty part of 50s, what was cool about the 50s and the 20s even is that they all were looking to the future and trying to make it better. And they're trying to like in the 50s was a huge technological revolution, and they're trying to advance to the moon. They're trying to advance mankind into like technologically more advanced. And the 20s, they were trying to like industrialize, and that was an advancement. Yeah. Now, the only thing that we want to advance is our pockets.
What about Elon Musk?
He's still insane, and
what the fuck?
He's crazy, dude. He's like, I get the space program with him, but like he has some issues.
Like what?
Like what was it? He was like talking about one of the I can't remember what I was reading about it. I just kind of closed my book, and I was like, I gotta go to school, so I wasn't really paying attention to it. But it was something about how it had to do with like his how he treated his workers. And like during the COVID, he didn't want to close down. He was like, no, I'm not fucking closing down.
Yeah.
And like he was trying to put all of his workers at risk, and he wasn't trying to do any health guidelines. So I was just like, okay, you clearly don't care about anybody but yourself. And like, so I was like, you are just like,
or he thinks it's bullshit.
Yeah. And
I mean, statistically speaking, not to put down any of the deaths that have happened, but to completely destroy the fucking economy for less than 0.1%, it is mind-boggling. Statistically speaking, it is. We have literally tanked the economy because we thought, like in the beginning, we thought it was going to be like a Spanish flu thing, where like tens of millions of people were going to die, but then we started to realize that, well, no, that's not the case. Yes, sir.
I'm so sorry. I just want to fact check one thing. The economy is actually not tanked. Small business.
There we go.
The economy actually has recovered to a point of down 27,000, which all that means is the 1% that have money have it back.
Well, yeah. For sure. Absolutely. Right. And I mean, come on, when protests happen, the stock market goes up, right? And that should recover, right? But the small businesses, right, have fucking tanked, right? And we don't even understand the full ramifications of what is going to happen for, months or years to come.
Yeah.
So, not speaking for Elon Musk, but, I've seen a lot of his stuff, is that, he didn't want to get behind stuff that he thought was bullshit.
Yeah.
And, this once again is not to put down any of the lives that have died. But, when the common flu kills, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, upwards of 60,000 people a year. And when it kills not more younger kids, but it is more deadly to younger kids than COVID. That's a lot to say as well too. And we don't tank the economy over the influenza.
But there's a different things, like the flu that was like 60,000 a year. This is over 200,000 within 2 months. That's the difference.
Straight facts, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely correct. But what are the long-term ramifications of these small businesses going under?
It's going to be fatal for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, they're saying, statistically speaking, 30 to 40% of small businesses will be wiped off the face of the planet. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And so you're going to have a lot more issues on the back end. So it's like, where do we stand, right?
Well, it just sucks because, like, honestly, like, it's hard to debate how to do this because of the fact that it's 200,000 people died already over the short few months of this versus, if we didn't close down, like, would that have doubled? Would that have tripled? Like, it's hard to tell, like, because we don't know.
For sure. But we should have been smart. Like, at this point, it's like, okay, if you're more susceptible, older generation, like, let's segregate, I hate that fucking word, but let's split, right, the people that can work against the people that can't work.
As soon as you start splitting up people, we were actually talking about this today, is that as soon as you start splitting up people and putting them somewhere else, like, one person gets it, that whole area is fucked. Once they're all together.
For sure, and that's what happened in the nursing homes.
Yeah.
But I don't mean like that. I don't mean to put them in one place, but say, hey, the older generation, right, and people that are more susceptible and have immune disorders, underlying conditions, you guys can stay home, right? Yeah. And then, other people, let's get people back to work.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
But social distancing, be smart about things,
it just
right?
sucks because, like, everything's so dirty. Like, theme parks, they're going to theme parks are having a lot of issues right now because, like, that's just a cesspool of germs. Same with cruises and airlines. Like, it's just like, it's insane. It's just like we depend on so much stuff like that, but it's also like the reason why small businesses are tanking is because corporations also have a hold on everything.
For sure.
Where if we didn't have like Walmart, Target, all those grocery stores, and we just had like locals farmers market that thrived, I guarantee you our small businesses would be fine because it wouldn't be
it would be more spread out.
Yeah, it would be more spread out, and we wouldn't have to rely on the grocery stores, and we can rely on, the small businesses instead. And so I honestly think that corporate America, like I fucking hate corporate America, with the passion. They are the root evil of this country. It starts with them because they have their claws in everything. And like, I love Walmart, don't get me wrong. I shop at Walmart all the time, and it sucks because it's cheap, but why it's all cheap is because they also do labor through the prison system. So again, it's all connected, so it sucks so much. So
no, it's a cycle.
I honestly think that the COVID did suck for small businesses, but I think what would help small businesses more would be to get rid of our reliance on like the grocery, and like also grocery stores. So much shit you get in the grocery store, all that is plastic pollution, and we're using so many resources just to stock your fucking fridge for a week. Yeah. Where if you shopped a local farmer's market, you can get veggies and fruits, everything you need for cheap.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
And then also like the food that's processed.
People are, that's it. That's kind of the one thing that's really been crazy during this whole COVID thing is like vaccine. Why aren't we talking about immunity? Why, why aren't we talking about, things to take care of ourselves, things to boost our immunity, vitamin C, vitamin D, eating healthy, working out, being active. But the government has said none of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, I think it has to do with, I do think kids should get vaccinated, don't get me wrong. I know there's a lot of people that say links to autism, but I don't think it does personally.
No.
I think like measles, all those vaccines that we have, they're good for a reason.
They're good. They're very good.
Once we get a COVID vaccine, I think we should all take it. But I think that if we, besides processed meat that gets like, it's so gross how much, like, if you watch, there's so many documentaries I watched on it, and it's just so bad how the meat is processed, how it's like there's so much crap that's in the meat, and then how they're feeding the animals, and then also that has to do with like the vegetation they have to feed their animals, and so that's a shit ton of agriculture that just gets fucking burned because of the animals that they have to feed. Yeah. Like, there's this one small island that we learned about off the Pacific Islanders, and it's spelled Moai, and I can never pronounce it, but it's
Moi?
Moi or Maui or something.
Maui in Hawaii?
No, it's like Maui or something. It's it's either MUAI or MOAI. It's something like that, and I learned about it. And
where is it?
It's not next to like Hawaii. It's a little bit further than that, I think, or somewhere.
It's with the human figures.
Yeah.
MOAI,
Moai. Yeah.
Moai.
Yeah, and they have the big face stones.
Yeah.
That place.
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason that I watched this documentary on like why that civilization got like wiped out pretty much is one, it had to do with the little fucking white people going and stealing them for slavery.
Woo!
Taking over stuff
Jokes.
like that. But they had also they brought over all these sheep to like herd, and they just destroyed the farmland, and they destroyed everything in the island. And if you look at the ancient like ruins, not really ruins, but they're the ancient leftovers, it had like all these places where they would farm their trees that would support like the water that they drank, the food that they made, like on the shelters they made from the trees. So like they had this really good agricultural system, and then they brought in all these sheep to herd, and it just wiped out everything. So it's just like considering we have to mass produce food in grocery stores for people sucks, and that's like destroying our planet. Then we have plastic wrapping everything in it, and that's destroying our planet. And then you have grocery stores that has all this waste and stuff. And then if you just did farmers market, then it would be a lot cheaper, a lot healthier, no more if you brought your own little bags to shop in it, like little net bags to put your fruit in, then you wouldn't have so much waste that the grocery stores bring out. So it's just like
people are lazy. Mm-hmm. People like the click of a button. And they like the click of a button, getting it delivered to your house in a day or two, which is going to get faster and faster. And just people as a fucking whole.
Well, honestly, if you get it shipped to your house, it wouldn't be as much waste as I think it would be as it would in the grocery store. Because one, you wouldn't have overstocking, and then you wouldn't have all this individual wrapping inside a big box that's individually wrapped and all.
Yeah, but then the jet fuel is terrible, right? So it's like a fucking never-ending cycle, and so it's like what's good, what's bad, and I don't think every corporation is bad, right? I personally don't think everyone, but I do think a majority of them are. And then what happens is, even if it's something that started out, good, right? You had, pick someone, running it, starting from the beginning. They were a high school student or college student, and they turned into this, and it fucking grew. But then eventually, company gets so big that you have a board.
Yeah.
And then that's where shit really starts to get fucking crazy.
What's the bottom line? That's all they care about.
Exactly.
After that.
Exactly. I mean, you look at Walmart, right? I mean, once Sam Walton passed away, the gentleman that founded Walmart, it all went to shit. I remember back in the day when we were really excited about a Walmart coming to town. I remember the one right up in Stevenson's Ranch. I was fucking elated, right?
Yeah.
And now I don't fucking ever go to Walmart. Like, fuck that. Like, I'm sorry to anyone that really shops there, but I just don't. If I'm going to go to one of those places, I'm going to go to Target, which is a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Now, why is that? Well, because, Sam's kids, care about the bottom line. They just fucking want to stack their pockets. What did Target just do, right? They raised their minimum wage to $15 an hour all across the U.S. When we have a minimum wage at $7.25, that is a federally, something put, $7.25 an hour.
And then rent is $1,000 a month.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
It's like, and that's like rent's $1,000 a month fucking in, I don't know, Bakersfield or something like that. I don't know. Maybe it's more expensive, but even somewhere like Kentucky or Mississippi, right? I mean, rent's maybe $700 a month, $800 a month, for a 1-bedroom.
And they make even less over there.
And they're making $7.25 a fucking hour. Yeah. Or I guess Walmart pays them $11 an hour, but $15 an hour, with $700 a month rent.
That's a little bit better.
That's definitely a little bit better. Yeah. And they set a precedent, right? And especially what was awesome about it, right? To stick up for a corporation, right? I'm sure they've done a lot of bad too, but during COVID, right, where places got, hit or whatever you could say, but it's definitely a fucking scary time. And people are losing money, but I know it's affecting more of the small businesses, like Daniel said, which is true. But a lot of companies are kind of doing cutbacks and things like that. Yeah. They're like, no, fuck that. We're going to raise it,
that's nice.
$15 an hour, right? Which is, it puts a stand, right? And then eventually all the other companies are going to have to do it. Yeah. $15 an hour really ain't shit in Santa Clarita or Los Angeles, right?
Yeah,
but
not at all.
But it's definitely a start because there's a lot of other places than California,
yeah.
right? It's just fucking mind-boggling. For you, where do you see your life going in the next, 5 years?
Well, now that I bashed all the corporations in America,
boom, bitch.
We'll see where I can go. Now, I hope I hope I can, I have a really good idea for this transmedia whole world thing, and I want to build a water park, and I have all this big ideas that I want to do. So hopefully, you guys will see me.
Yeah, how's COVID gonna fit into that?
That's years down the line. Because I don't have any. I have so much.
Why a water park?
Well, like there's a show that's gonna revolve around the water park. I want the water park to be built, and I want it to be a production friendly water park so that we can shoot on there while there's people in the park, and then people can come visit the park because it's with people that they love. And then I have it's this whole story world where all these different stories contribute to everything. But my idea started with a show in a water park, and it's just grown from there. So that's gonna be my baby eventually. So hopefully when that happens, you guys will see it. But I definitely plan on winning a fucking Academy Award.
Why do you care?
Because I just want the fucking white old men of the Academy to suck it.
Fuck you guys.
I hate them so much. So it just sucks. It's such a male-dominated industry, and especially directing, and anything that a woman gets directed, it's never, Little Women was so good, and it got no recognition at the Academy Awards, and it sucks.
Did it get nominated?
Yeah, it got nominated, but it didn't get
recognition.
It didn't get it didn't win anything, I think, except for some bullshit thing wardrobe or some shit like that.
But it still won. Well, I'm just saying. I'm not to put anything, because I understand exactly what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I do like to do that. But yeah, whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. But you're correct, right? There needs to be more opportunity,
especially for people of color too. It was great. I was happy that Parasite won a lot of stuff.
That was so fucking good.
I was happy with that. But 1917,
that was good.
It was good, but it was really cinematically beautiful, but it was a fucking Saving Private Ryan for this generation in a different world war. That's all it was he went to go get his fucking brother in a platoon and tell them not to do it. Saving Private Ryan was getting fucking Private Ryan and his platoon out of where he was. It was literally the same thing, different world war, just for 2020, and it won all these awards for it. Same with Parasite, which is really good. But Little Women got ignored, and that was such a great story. And it had a big leading cast with women, and it's just like all that shit gets ignored.
Isn't it little bites though at a time? Parasite winning, right?
Yeah, no, it was great.
That's fucking huge.
But that's my point. Is I want to be a part of that change where we, women are winning more, and people of color are winning more. Other, like it was so great to see that. A different language movie.
Yeah,
was winning. A foreign movie was actually winning. It didn't just win foreign film; it won best film, which was really exciting. So that was cool. I just hope that we keep getting in that direction.
More. I think as evolution doesn't stop.
Yeah,
right?
and they're all getting really old, so they'll probably die off.
Yeah, and so you have the new generation. People your age, people my age. Looking at the world differently. Yeah. Right. As we get older, our views might change a little bit, but once you get into your 30s, you're kind of roughly there. You got a strong, rough estimate of who you are. At least I think.
Yeah, no, definitely.
And so me being at 33 years old, I definitely look at the world different than some of the older generation. But I do believe with these small bites, these small changes, because a foreign film has never won, right?
For Best Picture,
Best Picture, right? So for it to win that is fucking huge.
It was really
right?
cool, yeah.
Did you see the TV show Hollywood on Netflix?
Mm-hmm, I loved it.
Yeah, it's
really
so fucking good,
it was
right?
So great.
So it's like, damn, shit was like that, and that wasn't that long ago.
My favorite thing about that is that they all were nominated. Everybody of color, of different race, everybody was nominated. And then the white boy that was nominated didn't win.
Yes.
That's what I loved the most about it. I was like, fuck yeah.
And that was, I don't know. Fuck, that was a long time ago, right? But not really, right? In the whole scheme of things, it's not that long ago. Yeah. But like that is where the change started, and it's if you look at life kind of from a bird's eye view, and then you look at kind of like a stock market, right? You'll have these ups and downs, but if we're up and down, up, right? There's change. So I do believe, especially with the Black Lives Matter movement, especially with everything going on, there is real change that is happening. And I believe it in every ounce of my bone. And, who knows what, the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years look like. But I like to believe that from that bird's eye view that it's, still going up and up.
I really hope we keep going. I hope we just take back what happened the last 4 years.
Yeah, but you can't. But it's a learning lesson, right? You can't take back what there have been good presidents, there have been bad presidents, right?
A lot of bad ones.
Right? What?
So we've had a lot of bad ones.
We have had a lot of bad ones, but we do get bleak moments of good presidents, and just because you're a good president doesn't mean you make bad decisions, right? Because you do, right? Just because you're a bad president doesn't make that you make some good decisions along the way, right? Because I'm sure if you looked at everything Donald Trump has done, there are some little bits and pieces, at least in my opinion, that have been good, right? Little bits and pieces, right? Let me emphasize that, little bits and pieces. But that being said, that's life. So maybe this is a wake up call for America because at least for me, for the longest time, I looked at America from my point of view, but America's fucking huge, right? There are many states, many different views, many different places. But I do think with time, we are getting better and better.
Yeah, and that's where empathy comes in too. You need to empathize with your fellow person next to you, or else you're not going to move forward.
No, you have to. Sometimes we can't always see from the person's eyes, but we can put ourselves in their shoes.
Yeah, we can try.
We can try, right? And we can listen. There is, especially with social media, there's a lot of screaming and yelling going on. We need to listen. We need to talk, right? That's why, I like to use this podcast as a platform for everyone, right? I want to hear everyone's thoughts and ideas from this side and that side, because if we do more conversations like this, I have, everything that we've talked about, right? I don't agree with.
Yeah, we've had a good conversation.
We've had a really good conversation, right? But a strong majority of it, I'd say we're pretty fucking spot on, right? But that's okay, right? Because we're talking. So someone from the other side, right? If we can have this conversation, if we can have open dialogue more like this, then I think it's we progress as a society.
Yeah, and that's my favorite thing about art is art is a lot of things that piss me off when people are like, oh, you're a filmmaker, you're an artist, or you play sports, don't fucking talk about politics. It's like, that's the whole point of art, is so it pushes a conversation and tests human boundaries, human limits, like your perspective on things. It makes you think a different way. It makes you act a different way. Like it makes you feel something different, like music, filmmaking, and then anything that's like a sculpture or a piece of art on the wall. Like it makes you feel a certain way, and that's what it's meant to do, is push a conversation about something. That's what artist wants, is for you to see something that you might not have seen before and then be like, oh, well, why is that? And then now you start pushing a conversation about something that's important to that person, So
absolutely, a lot of great music, a lot of great art, a lot of great movies have done that. They have pushed the ball enough to where people start to have this open conversation.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think we're gonna have a revolution, because I do think there's a lot of bitch ass people.
Yeah, I don't think we will either.
I just think a lot of people are too scared. Like, people from the 1700s, they were gruff. I mean, I don't know if you know, but a lot of the people, even on, not even on, a lot of people that, fought for America, George Washington's army, they were barefoot in the cold and the fucking heat. And they fucking did. A lot of them froze to death. A lot of them died from hypothermia, just fucking walking the treacherous miles to, build this nation of ours. And you could say it was built on this or built on that, but, and I wouldn't disagree with you on those things, but we're here and I can't fucking change that, right?
Yeah.
I was born here. But people today don't understand. Some people do, but there are a lot of people out there that I just don't see them, even though they're so strong in their beliefs, they're not going to, do this over it. And I really hope there isn't.
Yeah.
I fucking hope there isn't.
What I want for a revolution is like people to go into the system and just fucking
blow it up.
Yeah, blow it up, change it up, switch it up, do everything to like make it. Just we need to destructure it and then restructure it.
Yeah, I believe in decentralization.
Yeah.
I don't believe in this centralized source of power. This one person, this one way to get in, one way to get out. That's why I'm a huge believer in Bitcoin. Right? It's not controlled by government. It's not controlled by a foreign adversary. It's controlled by the people. And we have these currencies all across the world. Ours, fucking Federal Reserve, and you could say, oh, well, it's not part of America. Fuck you. Yes, it is. That have the ability to print as much money as they want. Look at a country like Zimbabwe before they changed their currency. They had $100 trillion bills. I used to carry one around in my pocket that was worth less than a fucking piece of toilet paper.
Yeah.
All right, so you have these systems, right? These centralized sources of power. They're just gonna fuck it all up. So you have decentralized sources of power where the community comes together. It's a community thing. It's a grassroots project, and I think that's happening. And I don't know what's gonna happen with this whole BLM movement, but I do like to believe that it is. I don't give a fuck if you're left or right. When you saw what happened to George Floyd, you
that was
knew that was
heartbreaking.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right? You knew that was wrong. And so it starts to open that conversation. And so we'll see where it goes. As we start to wrap this up, for you, what has been, kind of the hardest thing? You're white, I'm white. For standing for something that, you're not black, right? Obviously, you're not. I'm not fucking black, obviously, but you are an activist. You are pushing a positive message. What has been the hardest thing for you because you're white? And I know I asked you earlier, but I want to ask you again.
Honestly, there hasn't been a lot of, I would say, hardness about it, is because, someone talked about it saying during the protest that we're in a quarantine, so we have the time to go out and protest, and they don't want us to fall back into the treadmill of being too busy at work. So that's, luckily we're not dealing with that right now, because everyone has the time to handle this. So I think also being I don't mean to pull this card, but what helps me understand a lot about what I can't understand completely what they're going through, because obviously I've never had any issues with the police, anything, I haven't been oppressed, but I have been oppressed as a woman. So I totally can understand, I can start to feel or start to try to understand their pain, because I've been oppressed as a woman before, and I totally have a future of dealing with an industry that is male dominated. So I do have a lot of work ahead of me. So that's probably why I'm in this fight with them, is because I can stand with them and be like, I don't fully understand what you're going through. I grew up in a sheltered white Santa Clarita girl, so I don't understand your issues and your pain that you've gone through your whole life, and I can never understand, but I see it happening all around me, and so I'm not just gonna be ignorant to it, and I'm gonna accept it, and I'm gonna accept my white privilege, and I'm gonna use that back at the system, and I'm going to be there for my people, like people that don't have that. And so that's kind of why, like, I'm not afraid to stand up for this stuff because I'm white. And so I'm going to, like, if someone of color really wants to say something, I'm going to be right there in front of them, like with them, blocking them and letting them say what they want. I'm not going to be afraid to get in someone's face because I'm white, you know.
Good.
That's
don't be a bitch, right? Don't be a bitch. Like, if you believe in this, who gives a shit what color you are?
Yeah.
It takes a fucking community. It takes a fucking village to push this, because for too long, too many people have been oppressed.
Yep.
And it is time to stand up. And you are not the type of person that, you know, black out your square, son, you know, or
no, I
Tuesday.
didn't deal with that. I didn't do that.
And regardless if you did or didn't, you know, there's a lot of people out there that are just posting, and the next day they're not going to talk about it, right?
No.
And obviously that is definitely not you. It's really impressive to see, you know, someone at 26 years old standing up for something that they truly believe in, fighting for a cause.
You should see the girls that are running, like, the SCD for Change. Like, I've been talking to those girls because people come and talk to them, like, hey, I had this happen to me. I'm like, send them to me, like, forward them my Pepe's thing. So they, like, it's cool. Like, they doing these, like, live feeds about the budget for Santa Clarita. They're, like, breaking down things for people.
Shit.
They did the Juneteenth celebration at Bridgeport. They did that. So it's just like and these girls are even younger than me. So it's like a lot of them are, like, fresh out of high school, senior in high school. So it's, like, nice to see that, like, the younger generation is like, all right, we're fucking done with this bullshit.
Yes.
Like, we're fucking
yes,
gonna stand up to this. So I hope that, like, our generation, the people that are in the 30s and the late 20s, like, if you can, you know, if you're going to be running for office, if you're going to be running, there it is. If you're going to be running for office, if you're going to be doing something of change, like, just fucking do it. And, like, you're going to have the young people behind you supporting you. And that's the future of your votes.
It is.
Not the old white racist asshole that's flipping us off at our protest.
It's fucking crazy. That's why I didn't understand why the Democratic Party didn't get it behind Bernie Sanders. I understand why they didn't, but there was a huge younger generation that behind him, right? And fuck, man, that's how Obama won. The younger generation. We got out there. We voted.
I voted when I was
I was 18 years old. I was fucking getting out there talking to people. I was fucking. It was the first time that I had the ability to vote.
Me too. His second term is when I was like, I'm gonna be a part of this history.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. It felt so fucking good.
Like,
right?
he did bad things. Don't get me wrong. I was like,
course.
Obama was a bad president. I was like, you know what? He was at least a decent human being. Like, it's better than what we can say for now.
100%. Like I said earlier, just because you're a good president doesn't mean you don't make bad choices, right? You're only one person. Right? You got to look at it as a whole, right? And that's just how we are as human beings. We make bad decisions. I've made a fuck ton of bad choices in my life. Does that mean I'm a bad person?
Yeah,
no, absolutely not. Especially if you looked at it for only 8 years. No, look at it as a whole. That being said, I want to thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
It's been really fucking cool to talk to you, to hear you, to hear your story. You're going to have a really bright future ahead of you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate
Continue
that.
doing what you're doing.
You too. You keep fucking making this platform for people. I love it. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yes, absolutely. If there's anyone that is true to your heart that you think that would be good on here, I'd love to talk to them.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Absolutely. My door's always open.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to Back to Your Story. Have a good night. Peace out, motherfucker. Boom, bitch. You're not
Love
the bitch.
it.
Thank you guys so much for watching. To subscribe to the podcast, hit the logo right there. And to watch more content, hit the bad boy right there. Thank you. Have a good one. Peace out.